Greetings, good morning. It's a beautiful day, it's a beautiful Tuesday. We're still under quarantine, under lockdown, we're still wearing our masks. Well, I've settled for my riding gear because at least it does the work. But now, a lot of things have been done, a lot of things have been said at different levels. How do we then move on from here? I still maintain that how we implemented the levels as a country still remains a baffle to me. I think it was rushed. I think it was a bit, we didn't really comprehend the actions that we were pressured to take. But all in all, it was in good faith. It was in the spirit of saving the lives of people, making sure we contain the virus, because we didn't even know how big this thing was. So, having said that, I think I'd like to turn the attention to what I'll be discussing with the dads soon. It's more a matter of when we talk empowerment, when we talk coaching, when we talk preparing our young ones for the future. What are we really talking about? Are we talking about preparing the young ones for the future of having money? Are we talking about preparing the young ones for the future of having the knowledge, know-how, being educated? Or are we literally saying we want to position them more like empower them, to be empowered in the aspect of how to face challenges, how to navigate their way? I mean, we've been there. Some of us we grew up with absent fathers. Some of us we grew up with single mothers who raised us. But most of us we grew up in communities. We grew up in villages. We grew up in the townships where everybody really is contributing to who you are. Now, if we are to focus on making sure that our children understand that wealth is not about money, wealth is not just about having the right education, but wealth is about ensuring that you can make that money. Should you lose it tomorrow, you'll still be able to function. Having that education, should you not find a job tomorrow, you'll still be functional, you'll still be able to can make a living for yourself. Are we empowering our children, our little girls, our little boys in the right way? Or are we empowering them in a way that says it's all about money? I mean, I see how flashy we live, the kind of lifestyle we do. I'm guilty of some of the education that I've given my own children. I believe that I'm not that bad because I've caught myself and I've pulled back. But how do we then make sure that our children are not just thinking, I'm gonna own that car, I'm gonna build this house, but rather thinking, I'm gonna be able to can run an operation that will enable me to attain wealth, to attain the ability to purchase whatever kind of vehicle I want, to purchase or build whatever kind of house that I want. Not limiting to saying, I know this brand X, that's what I want, because I've seen old people, especially old men, that have gone through life wishing to drive that BMW, wishing to drive that Mercedes, only to take all of their pension money and invest it in that particular car. And since that pension money might not be able to can even purchase the latest and the greatest of that particular X model car, they then end up settling for a third hand or a fourth hand of the car that they've always dreamt about, that they hardly even drive for a year before it breaks down, so taking out more money. So are we not preparing our children for failure if we're only focusing on them saying, get an education and have a better life? Does an education mean a better life in these times and times? I mean, these times we faced with challenges. These times we're faced with graduates who are not finding a job, and then only to find that those who haven't even graduated actually make better means, make better options. But the fact that we've empowered them to do those, rather than cohese them into a corner where they believe that it's all about getting that corner office, it's all about getting that salary in somebody else's company. It matters not how much you are being paid, but the fact that if you are working for somebody else, You are literally chained to that job. You're literally dependent on that job. How empowered are you? And we need to be looking at it from that angle, to say we need our children to be empowered. We need our children to become tomorrow's adults who are way better than we were, who make way better choices than we do, who with their first income, they are already thinking, how do I invest this? Not necessarily in the stock exchange, not necessarily in some funny scheme that promises you 1,000% worth of profit over 7 days, but rather investing it in something that will give me a little to sustain myself. Why do we have young people in whose minds their first check has to go to clothes, their first check has to go to a car, their first check has to go to renting an apartment that is somebody's apartment? We need to coach our children better. We need to coach our partners better as well. We need to coach ourselves to be vigilant, to understand that life is more than just attaining the money, more than just having the education, but rather living the kind of lifestyle that's fulfilling. And fulfilling could add money to it, fulfilling could add an education to it. But what if you don't have those two? Or what if you have those two but you need more? We can't just box ourselves. I mean, this pandemic is actually saying to us there is more to life. Even the people that were high earners, who had the best of the most fanciest contracts, who could call in favors and get particular contracts, are now at the bottom end. I mean, we've seen how mere social community members are now essential services, whereas the ones that have always been looked up at as those who have made it are not essential. They're actually quarantined. They're sitting at home and wondering where the next buck is going to come. So let's be very, very careful how we coach our children. That tone that says success is money, that tone that says success is education, it's not enough. The tone should really be saying you need to be able to make the money for you to have a good, comfortable life. However, that money, you should be investing it. You shouldn't be just getting the money to consume. You should be looking at making yourself an employer as well, not just saying I need the next job, not just saying there are no jobs, not just saying I've got a CV, and it's I think it comes down to us, the now generation that is leading. It comes down to us who have missed, probably our parents misled us, but they didn't mislead us because they didn't want us to be successful. No, that was the value of success to them. It was about making money, getting the right job, getting the right education, and living it up. Obviously, they probably didn't even understand the issue of credit and how it chains you. The fact that the banks will actually own your life through the education that you believe you have, and through that same mental empowerment that was limited to money and property and getting a job. Let's do better. Let's be better parents. Let's be better coaches, so that we can have better children and make better choices. And yes, everybody makes their mistakes, but I don't see why my child should make the same mistakes that I did if I can share with him a bit about those mistakes. If I can share with her a bit of how I manipulated, or how I maneuvered, or how I ensured that I come tops over the mistakes, so that when she makes her own mistake, when he makes his own mistakes, he's got a toolbox that I handed him. And imagine my grandchildren, they'll have an even more effective toolbox if we do the right coaching and the right empowerment. Blessed day, guys.